This is the Unspoken Podcast on the Undetermined Podcast Network.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast by the Undetermined Podcast Network. It's episode number 19. I'm Tom Albano. Along with me always is Nick Federa. It's episode number 19, Nick.
And we are free! Yes, it is now officially summer break for Hofstra students. And that's all I can say.
Free.
I know, doesn't it?
It feels relieved. I feel so relieved.
We're here for the summer, and that means we're gonna be with you all summer. We ain't going on break. We ain't going nowheres.
No, we're cool for the summer, even though it's like it's weird. Last week I was in sweatpants. This week I'm suddenly in shorts.
Me too.
It's not even one of those normal transitions where you have spring in between. It just shot from winter to summer.
Well, that's global warming for you. That's what happens. But I can't even imagine having to be at school, having to be at class today when it's this hot. It's like, even sitting in this chair, I'm just sweating.
I can't believe. Well, my brother's graduation is tomorrow from high school, so I'm going to be out in the hot. I'm going to be out in the hot heat.
The hot heat, as opposed to the cool heat or the tepid heat.
Oh, by the way, Nick, I picked up MLB 17 yesterday.
Oh, you did? What do you think of it?
I love it. I mean, first of all, the retro mode where it's like you can change all the graphics to like, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball for like the SNES kind of style.
Oh,
that's fun.
See,
and I love.
See, I didn't have any baseball games on the SNES. I had a Genesis growing up, and I had I had both, but the baseball games I had were it was Triple Play 96.
Triple Play, that's good. Of course, that became the MVP baseball series, which, as short as it was, I fucking loved the MVP baseball series. I wish that came back.
But still, I mean, it's what are sports games nowadays? Just basketball, football, and Madden,
and baseball, and the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. I mean, there's the yearly SmackDown WWE series. There's occasionally a UFC. I'm still waiting on when EA UFC 3 is going to come out.
It's EA. Never expect them to do shit the right way.
EA Sports. It's in your ass.
I've been playing.
I have to admit that was stolen. Thank you to Dina Woodward from New Legacy Inc., the streamers New Legacy Inc. These wrestling fans are big gaming streamers. They're amazing. They're hilarious.
Oh, those Twitch guys are crazy, especially the Madden Twitch guys. Those guys are insane.
Oh,
insane.
Oh, and that reminds me, I almost forgot about MLB 17 to show. The Road to the Show mode is so far great. I mean, it's kind of like how it's been like with the last 2 years, but like this year there's actually a little bit of narration and a little more of player choice, like an RPG, which is really fun.
I haven't really been into sports games since NFL Game Day, which was I was on the PlayStation. And
well, during my being a fan of sports gaming for a while and doing my research, I feel like there was a fall of, a quote-unquote fall of video games when two things. Number one, the EA Sports MVP baseball and the NFL 2K series both died because there's a whole drama involved in that.
Because EA and Tiburon, NFL paid out the ass for...
Right. Well, that's also because NFL 2K released their video game for like 1990 whatever, which was like $40 lower than Madden, and NFL 2K sales, of course, they feared 2K Sports might have spiked. There's a whole history to that. But that might be something for another time. But then also, I don't know.
We could fit that into another podcast.
We could do like a whole episode dedicated to sports gaming.
You know what? That is a perfectly good idea. Now that we have the time, I think we should.
Okay. How about episode 21? How about...
That will be it.
Okay, because next week's episode 20, we want to do a little something special. But like episode 21, we will have a sports gaming episode dedicated to just sports gaming.
Yes, indeedy. That is what we're. But still, we've got sports to talk about, actual physical sports.
Yeah,
and we've got some breaking news to report to you if you haven't already seen. Mr. Harvard,
I haven't.
Beardley McGee, Ryan Fitzpatrick signed a 1-year deal to play quarterback, to play backup, I guess, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I don't know why I'm glad he got a job because I'm pretty sure I'm sure he's a nice guy. He didn't deserve to get thrown under the bus by playing for the Jets.
Yeah, it wasn't really. Last season with the Jets.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last season with the Jets wasn't much of his fault, in all honesty.
No, it wasn't. But you still kind of. He's in a car accident, but it's not his fault. He doesn't change the fact that he was in the accident.
Okay, very true, very true. But yeah, I guess he's going to be the backup because I really don't see the Bucs, trying to downgrade Jameis Winston. I really don't see that, especially with the younger team the Bucs have, and now the addition of O.J. Howard.
Yeah, so I can imagine their offense is going to be, at least on paper, it's going to be pretty damn good. And I would expect, the move doesn't really make any sense to me because I thought that Jameis was doing well.
He is doing well.
So why hire Beardley McGee?
Probably to have a veteran backup.
To light a fire under his ass, I guess?
Maybe to make sure he doesn't get a big head.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is always a danger, but I don't know. I get the feeling they're both getting snowed here.
It's weird. It's very weird that they did this, but I mean, it was weird when the Giants signed Geno Smith.
Yeah. Well, maybe they thought, what the hell?
Which is probably what the Bucs thought. What the hell? We could use a backup.
It's probably like when you walk past the house that has a yard sale, and you see a beat up lawn gnome, and it's a pretty good looking lawn gnome, and then you look at it, and then you say to yourself, what the hell? This is going on my front lawn. No one's gonna miss it.
Yeah, but pretty much. I think the Bucs, this is just a precautionary move, just in case something happens. You can never know what to expect in the NFL.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's been true for years, and it's still true today. And
I mean, also, maybe Jameis could learn some stuff from Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, although I think he's doing pretty well on his own. But
right.
Apparently, there's some intangibles thing that he's short on. Even though intangibles is pretty much as vague as you want it to be, intangibles can be pretty much whatever the coach wants.
Yeah, but either way, I'm not concerned about this move. I think it's just a precautionary measure. I think the Bucs are going to do just fine. I think they're going to do better now in the season. I think they have a run. They have the ability to make a run for second place, maybe even first.
Who knows? I mean, we'll get to that when we do our NFL season previews a little bit later in the summer. But I like Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he can play, but Tom Brady, he ain't. Speaking of Tom Brady, he was in the news again.
Well, more his wife.
Well, it was about him, but his wife quoted, and I think she was doing an interview with a magazine or something like that.
It was something like that.
And she said that did she imply that he was, I think she implied that he had hidden concussions, or he's had a few already and played through it.
I'm not sure if it was implied or said, but it was pretty much the sports media has picked up on it, saying that Tom Brady had played with concussions last season.
Which makes sense. I mean, you can't expect a quarterback to get hit and hit and hit and just walk away. You know, the head ain't marble over there. Something's going to break. Yeah,
no, you're right. Well, I mean, that's just also the game of football. There's just, and we know the different precautionary moves that the NFL has been trying to make ever since, you know, the lawsuits that have hit them. CTE making a rise, the movie Concussion with Will Smith, right?
League of Denial, the TV special that 30 for 30 and PBS did a couple of years back that I actually wrote a paper about in undergrad. So I did a lot of research on the subject. And
funny enough, in my junior year, so that'd be fall of 2014, I also did a paper on it.
Because you know what? It seems like this is going to be if Brady, because Brady is the most decorated quarterback and the most visible quarterback of the last, I think, 20 years.
If he can get hurt, injured, and concussed, anybody can.
Yeah, I think that would be the point where the NFL would have to say, okay, this is actually a problem. We just can't let it go away, or we just can't make it go away, or just pay lip service to actually fixing the problem without actually fixing it. So they've shifted from actively denying it exists to, oh, you're concussed, here's $5.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're talking about all these different players who are getting hurt, all the lawsuits that are coming against them, and like all the settlements that are coming in. When you divide all that settlements, it must come out to only like $5 or $10 for each player.
Well, yeah, but and that's a damn shame because we've lost some legendary NFL players because of CTE, and you cannot say that football is not the cause. Look at the overwhelming evidence. It is there staring you in the face, and in fact, it's not just staring you in the face, it's giving you the finger. It's giving you fingers on both hands.
I mean, I'll to say one already who got their life fucked up by CTE and post-concussion syndromes and ended up taking his own life, Junior Seau.
Yeah, Junior Seau was really the first high-profile case where the public really started to notice, hey, there might be something to this.
Right, I mean...
But do you think that this is going to start to affect Brady? Because he's not a spring chicken.
Well, here's the thing. Brady, wasn't it like last year, 2 years ago, Brady said, oh, I'm going to play for another 10 years. He's in his high 30s, right?
Yeah, he's 39.
There is no way he can play another 10 years. There's barely a chance he can play another 5. The NFL is just not built for 40-year-olds.
Yeah, and although his statistics really haven't taken a sharp, Peyton Manning-like dive in his last year.
Fair enough, but eventually, like I said, we're all not invincible. We're all not Superman. Eventually, something's going to come up to Brady, and all it's going to take is one good head knock, I think, and all that might go away.
Lights out on him, and apparently they're very afraid that that's going to happen to Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of punishment.
He does. He really does. But going back to what you were saying about the NFL, I don't know. It's Goodell. He likes to sweep things under the rug.
Yeah, you really think he's going to actually become a morally upstanding commissioner or a morally upstanding citizen for that matter?
No. I don't think this is going to do much. I think, plus it's Brady, Deflategate and everything after that.
Yeah, I can imagine if he actually does get CTE, God forbid, and it ends up really crippling him, again, God forbid, you'll start to see kind of contrarian takes. Oh, well, he knew the risks. Why did he play football? Or he's a cheater. Maybe he deserves. It's like,
well, what's it called? Well, you bring that up. Wasn't it like who said it? Was it Bo Jackson who said, had I known the effects of what football can do with like CTE and stuff, I would have never played. He'd just play baseball.
A bunch of people have said that. Harry Carson actually said that.
Right. No, but I was referring to like how he played both baseball and football.
Yeah.
He would have only done baseball had he not known.
Yeah, and for Bo to say that, I mean, the man's one of the most freakishly talented people on God's green earth in his time competing in both leagues. So for him to say that, that's something.
Right. I've given credit to both Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders for being hellish athletes for doing MLB and NFL. But it's like, like the after effects of football. Like, I mean, on one hand, I think maybe both were better football players, but on the other hand, all the effects, the game put on them, it's like maybe they should have stuck it to baseball a little more. It's like, but at that point, we didn't know what, all the concussions and stuff.
We will I think eventually you will see, maybe not in this generation, but in the next couple, you will start to see a mass exodus of talent because young kids won't be playing football anymore.
Right. I mean, there's suddenly this movement now for flag football leagues in place of normal football leagues. And I mean, you do have critics there talking about how it's like the wussification of sports, the wussification of the NFL.
You say that now, but you wouldn't be saying that if your kid actually gets fucking brain damaged, asshole.
Right. I mean, here's where I feel a little split on this. On one hand, you cannot stop all violence in football. It fucking happens. It's a fucking violent sport. On the other hand, I feel like there can be better technology, like maybe one day we can have, because weren't they trying to get these new helmets or some shit like that?
These new helmets that are supposedly more impact resistant than has ever been seen by any material made by man.
Supposedly. That is an important modifier. But this isn't going to go away. So the NFL needs to be able to fix this, or at least to develop a better system for treating this. First, start by acknowledging it exists before we start seeing guys like Brady go down. Well, I think they have no choice now between it exists with stuff like, the 30 for 30, concussion with Will Smith, all that out there. I feel like they have no choice now. If they keep denying themselves, then that's all they are. Then they're deniers. Then it would just be stubborn and arrogant. And eventually the bottom will drop out if they keep doing this. Right. If they keep denying it, you can consider them worse than politicians.
And that is a pretty low bar to clear.
So, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's more stuff we can do about concussions, and it's a big concern, especially with this case of Tom Brady. But, as much as we aren't Brady's biggest fans, we're humans,
There is a time to be a dick, and there is a time not to be a dick. There are more times than it's less advantageous in life if you just go around being a dick all the time.
Right.
So there's a point where it's like, okay, these guys are human.
And I hope if what Brady's wife is saying is true, I really, really, I'm concerned. I mean, I'm already concerned with the NFL concussions. It's been a big issue for a number of years now. But now, if Brady, was playing through concussions, it's like, Tom, you're a hell of an athlete, but
I think it might be time to step away.
Yeah, I already thought you weren't going to be playing for another 10 years, like, against what you said, and it's just, maybe we even shouldn't play another 5. Maybe with guys like Peyton going, with maybe Ben going, maybe it's after like 2 or 3 more years, maybe it's time you also said goodbye.
We will see. We shall see.
You are listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Before we move on, I want to talk about briefly some MMA boxing news. So it seems like this Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight might actually happen.
And how much money are they putting down on this? See, I get my UFC news from you.
I know, no, but here's the thing. I'm not sure if they have publicly stated any money yet. All I know is Dana White last week at the UFC 211 post-fight conference said he was going to work out an agreement with Conor because the UFC has to get involved in this because this is their athlete. And then they would go to Floyd and his team. Now, the Conor side of the deal supposedly is done. It's finished. It's all good. I'm trying to pull up that information already. See. Yeah, I just accidentally entered the rankings. Okay. Yeah, McGregor and White supposedly have come to terms, and McGregor did apply for a boxing license, and I believe he got it. I believe it was in the state of California. The McGregor side, actually, I said Dana White said it at the UFC 211 post-fight conference, how he was going to work with Conor on his side of the deal. And then Dana White actually showed up after Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals of the NBA. He was a guest, I guess, on TNT, and he confirmed the deal was done. So now they must now go to Floyd Mayweather, and he said within the next week we should have a deal. So we might actually get to see Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match.
Holy fuck.
Finally, the games look like they're finally over.
Oh. And how do you feel about this transpiring?
It's interesting. I think it's going to be a big money fight. Like, I will order the pay-per-view for this. It's freaking, one of the biggest stars in boxing, one of its biggest icons for the modern era, who's now transitioned into a promoter, versus the face of the UFC, the modern face of the UFC, the only man to have held 2 UFC titles simultaneously. I think the star power is there. It's going to be a big money fight. Business-wise, it's going to be hella good. I think the fight's going to suck.
And what makes you say that?
Because Conor McGregor is entering a boxing ring. And
it's a good point. Yeah, it's a completely different discipline from boxing to UFC.
I have family members who have said they feel the fight will probably end in disqualification. Because, remember, Conor is going to be wearing these big mitts now, these big boxing gloves. He can't necessarily grab, because you can't really grab. You can't really grab in boxing. You can clinch, but after a while, you're going to have to be broken up and stuff. And
yeah, you can't kick.
You can't kick. You can't go to the ground. This isn't kickboxing or MMA.
So you're saying either Mayweather's gonna knock him the fuck out, or
I think he can put up a good fight, Conor. I just don't think he'll do enough to win. Now, that being said, this is advantageous to Floyd because technically this isn't the worst situation possible. I think there could be a worse fight because if we were to look at the scale of the training involved, whether it's a boxing or MMA fight, I think this fight would be worse if Floyd entered the octagon. Because it has happened before. A boxer has tried MMA before. James Toney, I believe this was 2007 or 2008. James Toney, who was like a 3-time boxing champion or something like that, attempted to do an MMA fight, and he fought Randy Couture at UFC. I think it was... Actually, no, this might not have been 07, 08. This might have been like 2009, 2010. And what happened was Randy Couture, who is an unbelievable MMA professional, he was around in like the early UFCs. When he took James Toney to the ground, that was it. James Toney had no ground experience. He had little to no training. And Couture choked him out in 4 minutes.
Like I said, it's a completely different discipline. And you need to, and you can't expect a boxer to unlearn everything that is essentially muscle memory in the matter of a couple of weeks, even a couple of months. It takes years to hone that kind of skill.
I mean, we saw it back in September, UFC 203, with CM Punk. CM Punk attempted to, fight an a professional MMA fight after no amateur MMA fights, no amateur jiu-jitsu tournaments, no amateur karate tournaments. He signed a deal on December 14, so he only had a little less than 2 years of training, and he was submitted in 2.5 minutes.
That's how quickly your dreams can die in this sport.
It's not even about that. It's you need to have the training. You need to have. Sometimes it takes years of training to, enter a fight. You need amateur fights. That's why there's amateur stuff, because it's it's practice for the big leagues. See if you're good enough for the big leagues.
You're making all good points, but there is one point that overrides them all.
What's that?
This is going to make a shit ton of money. You really think that Dana White cares?
Oh, I mean, I think they kind of care, because if Conor gets killed, how bad does that look for the UFC?
Yeah, it's a good point, but
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's going to be, but there's nobody who's going to stop them because it's a big money fight. I'm just saying, don't expect an 11, 12-round war like we saw with Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua. Don't expect that.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that the thought might have occurred, but nobody's actually articulated those sentiments, because the only color that matters
is green.
Is green, not black, white, or any other color or gender you could be. The only thing is green.
Don't assume gender, people.
Exactly. Don't assume if you were a person that was actually physically made of money, they would treat you better.
I mean, we thought we would have a Ronda Rousey super fight in some way, but she's gone.
Yeah,
all right, so
I like her. Though.
She was good. Like I said, there's nothing that's going to stop history. She put women's MMA on the map, but that's it. Anyways, let's move on from MMA and boxing. Let's go to baseball.
Yes, that's right. Baseball. We're into May now, and in fact, since we didn't have a show last week, some stuff has transpired that we think you ought to know about, and we have the Yankees and the Mets, and this week there are two sides of the same issue, and the issue is. So, are the Yankees, because even though they got shut out last night in Kansas City by Danny Duffy, who, God, I hate that guy, but even though they got shut out, they've been remarkably consistent over
I was going to say, but they put a rocking on Vargas.
Yeah, and that wasn't expected, but that's part of the point. Are the Yankees because you're seeing a lot of people start talking playoffs and start talking about, can they bring in a pitcher for in the deadline, the trade deadline?
I don't think it's too late to start talking deadline, but I think it's a little too. I mean, it's not too early to start talking deadline, but I think it's a little too early to start talking playoffs and such.
It is, and the question here, and this relates to the Mets too, because. And the Mets are part of this because they currently are at 16-23. They just went on a road trip where they didn't win a game, so they're third in the NL East. So are the Mets, even though they've been ravaged by injuries, are they as bad as people say they are? And are the Yankees as good as people say they are?
Well, what side
is there truth to be found?
Well, what side do you want to talk about first, the Mets or the Yankees?
We'll go with the Mets first.
Okay. Because, truth be told, I don't know if they really are as bad as we think. I mean, it's like what you said. it's just shitty Mets luck. I think that's what this season is. It's not a matter of good players or bad players. It's shitty Mets luck. I mean, I got the injury list right here.
And we have Yoenis Cespedes. We have Noah Syndergaard.
Travis d'Arnaud, Juris Familia, David Wright, Steven Matz, Lugo, Cabrera. There's basically a lot of your starting lineup is there.
About a good 60 to 70% of your opening day starting lineup is on that list, and you cannot be expected to compete every day when your lineup's being held together by bubble gum and duct tape.
I mean, what the Mets look like now is like kind of like a little bit of a shittier version of what the 2013 Yankees looked like, in my opinion. Because when the 2013 season started, you had Teixeira down from the World Baseball Classic. You had Jeter down from the 2012 ALCS.
Against the Tigers the previous October.
Right, in the ALCS. You had A-Rod and his little circus going on at that time.
So it was basically just a lineup full of scabs.
And then Mariano Rivera, who was in his last season.
So, yeah, I remember that. But
Mariano Rivera and Andy Pettitte, that was their last season, I think, 13.
Yep.
So it was a transition period.
The thing
is, this isn't...
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's like that was like a transition period for the Yankees, or at least the start of it. The thing is, for the Mets, this ain't a transition period. This is a nightmare.
It is. It's not what they planned. It's not because they were expected to, if not compete to go to the World Series, at least go far in the playoffs.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if I can necessarily what's his name has been just absolutely frustrated. Oh, Collins. Collins has been frustrated and such. But, I mean, part of it isn't even in his control. Injuries, unfortunately, happen, and this is just the shittiest luck of injuries.
Yeah, and I think Collins so badly wants to say that when he's talking to the press. But, again, he has to put on a brave face, and I do feel bad for Terry Collins because I do like him, but I feel like knee-jerk reaction – it's actually started to happen. We've had Mets fans call for his head.
Right. I mean, and
you don't want that. Believe me, you don't want that.
No, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like Collins can't rely on those knee-jerk reactions. He just has to kind of say, this is shitty. Like, we have all these guys, all our stars are now injured. That's not in our control, and unfortunately. But I feel like that. If that's going to be the case, where's management? Where's the GM making moves? Where are the owners making moves?
Well, I mean, then again, I don't know. It's Mets ownership. You never know what the fuck they're going to do from one moment to the next.
That's true. I mean, but that's the thing. You're leaving Collins on a one-man island.
Yeah, you're leaving him with his dick in the wind. If you'll pardon the expression, but I think that, to be honest, I feel like once you get these players back in some form of being operational, the record will improve. Because remember, it's still early in the season. Plus, honestly, with this whole Matt Harvey crap that they've been going through, Collins has been served up a lot of bullshit on his plate that he should not have to deal with.
I think what the Mets have to do is, number one, they got to wait for some of the stars to come back. Number two, maybe trade Harvey and get some youngins, get some top prospects in that.
You really think they would trade him?
If it got bad, if it got really bad, like you said, don't be surprised by any moves the Mets management would make.
So you're talking about if his behavior got worse or his record got worse?
If he played well, but his behavior got worse.
Well, then again, I must bring up David Wells because that guy, he was a good pitcher, but he was a pain in the ass personally. And honestly, the behavior starts to affect the performance, then you would start to hear people calling for his head or calling for him to be traded. But I don't think they would actually do something like that.
All right. I think we talked about this in class already, but that wasn't in sports writing. Like, what if Matt Harvey went to the Yankees and you and I both shook our heads?
Yes, we would definitely be two-faced and just say, welcome aboard.
It's like, welcome aboard. Close the door.
Yeah. Fuck. But, there is a remarkable ability of Yankee fans to kind of overlook the person and really concentrate on the laundry. Let's not forget about what Aroldis Chapman did.
Okay, that's true. That wasn't even the first thing I was thinking. The first thing I was thinking was Randy Johnson. He had a poor attitude with the media.
Fuck, you had to remind me of Randy Johnson? Oh, God!
He had a poor attitude with the media, shoving his hand in cameras' faces and such.
Oh, God, I remember that day. I was so excited, too.
I was so excited to have Randy Johnson, yeah. It's just...
Oh, but I got the ghost... I got hollowed out Randy Johnson. I got the ghost of Christmas past Randy Johnson.
What's funny is I actually went to a Yankee game when I saw Randy Johnson's pitch, and I was, so excited.
You poor...
And then I was going to say, if it's the game that I'm thinking of, it was either Johnson or Clemens who were pitching, and they gave up a home run to Richie Sexton. I'm like, fuck.
Even back then, oh my God. But still, the Yankees are in better straits these days.
It's like
yeah, go ahead.
It's like what I said before with the Yankees. I feel like there's going to come a point, maybe it's going to come soon after yesterday's performance against the Royals, where their hot streak's going to stop and it's going to be cooled down a little. But I don't think I still think they're going to exceed our expectations after what we said. Like, I said it was going to be like a second or third place finish. It was going to be like last year where they were going to come so close. Like, maybe they can make the playoffs and break our hearts at the last minute.
Yeah, I still, honestly, because I'm a pessimist at heart and I'm unbelievably superstitious, I'm still not changing that prediction.
I think, what's it called? Because I remember I said the Orioles and Yankees were going to be tied for second and third. I think maybe it can be like right what it is now, where the Orioles and Yankees are going to fight over the first and second place. Only because the Red Sox, what happened? That was a shitty start to the season.
Yeah, it's very, very disappointing that they couldn't kind of, replicate that kind of offensive power once they lost David Ortiz.
You thought maybe they could have had a rebound season, but I mean, not a rebound season, but they keep the momentum going even after their big star is gone. I mean, look at the Yankees, 2014, Jeter retired, and that was the final of the tournaments. But then the next year, they made the wild card game.
Yeah, and Didi has done an exemplary job in really a thankless task.
I know. Didi has done that. With this current season, I wish Torreyes played more because he was going high, in place of Didi after Didi was injured. I wish they, they did. I wish they did what they said they were going to do and moved him around, occasionally giving people a day off. I'm still believing, as much as you might disagree, Headley and Gardner will be gone by deadline.
We might
only because of a money issue. I feel like if they do that, they can go under the cap. I mean, under the cap and lower the luxury tax. That's number one, so they can prepare, for the big 2019 off-season shopping spree.
The Splurgepalooza, but that also brings up a good point. And I was waiting for a chance to make this point. If position players, I mean, meaning Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Greg Bird, Tyler Austin, Jorge Mateo.
Well, don't forget, because there's a second point to this. Don't forget, they also have all these, like you were saying, young prospects still in AAA. Because that's the thing about with Headley and Gardner, because everyone's playing for their jobs. Because you still have guys like Clint Frazier who are in AAA just waiting.
So that being the case, would there come a point if these guys really start to pan out, especially Frazier and Judge, and you can stick somebody else in center? Would there be a point where they would say we don't have to go after Bryce Harper at all?
I don't know. That's tough, only because I'm a big Bryce Harper fan. I would really like him on the Yankees.
Him in the Bronx.
Here's the thing. I think, remember how we thought they were going to go after all the superstars? What I'm thinking now is maybe they're not going to go after everybody. I think maybe they go after Machado. They go after Harper after his 2018 deal is done. But maybe they don't go after somebody like Kershaw. I think the problem with Kershaw is, it's like what we said. Well, number one, he has deal with injuries in recent years. But number two, he's a good regular season pitcher. But we know classic Kershaw in the playoffs.
You wonder where Clayton Kershaw goes. Usually, I think around September, somebody actually steals his skin and is pitching. He's pitching in his place. But the recent series with the Astros, where they lost 3 out of 4, I think refocused a lot of because I was feeling pretty good about this team.
Right.
But honestly, running into the buzzsaw of Dallas Keuchel and Luke, the other guy.
Hang on. My thing is still on the Mets. What I was going to say is, as much as I think the Yankees, it's like what you said, maybe they have reached a cool down point, but at the same time, keep in mind, the Astros are one of the best teams, probably the best team in the American League right now.
The best team in baseball, record-wise, as of...
That's true. So I can't be a little too discouraged losing 3 or 4. I mean, we got 1 game out of it. It's not like, we got swept. If we got swept, I'd be a little more concerned.
But pitching.
McCullers? I'm trying to think of who
McCullers, that's his name.
Yeah, McCullers.
And honestly, it shows, in a division series against these Astros, we run into really big problems here because you need pitching, and the Yankees don't have that kind of consistency out of their starters because CC can pitch brilliantly one night and get shelled the other night. And although I think Jordan Montgomery really hasn't gotten a lot of run support.
I was going to say, I think Montgomery gets too much shit for what,
He puts too much shit on himself, I think.
Right. I think he's a fine pitcher. He just needs luck to go his way.
And Michael Pinedo, although
Jekyll Hyde.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And Severino, I mean, God knows what you're going to get out of him from start to start. Tanaka.
So, yeah, I mean, you're right. We do need a pitcher. But like I said, if we're going to, actually, I was thinking, my dad and I were talking about this, and we made a point or something. You know who I think they could be going after at the trade deadline?
Quintana?
No. From Pittsburgh, Cole.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about in fact, Michael Kay was talking about this just about a month or so ago.
That's why, because my dad and I were talking yesterday about this, because when you think about it, the Yankees and Pirates, they're good trade partners. Think about it. Ivan Nova, now on the Pirates. Russell Martin took a pit stop to the Pirates. Francisco Cervelli is on the Pirates.
Chris Stewart.
The Yankees and Pirates have a good trade relationship, and they've shared a bunch of players, who have played on both teams. I think there is a chance, for the right price, we could get Cole.
2 things stop me from throwing my weight behind something like that.
Okay.
The first thing is, I don't think the Pirates would give him up unless they're way out of contention.
Maybe, but like I also say, for the right price.
You say good, and in either of that scenario, I can't see a scenario where they don't say goodbye to either Gleyber Torres or Clint Frazier. And that I don't want to happen because I really do want to see those guys come up and rake for this team.
That'd be tough. But like I said, going in terms of like long term with pitching, like I said, Kershaw is available in that 2019 splurge. But like I said, you'll get a good starting, regular season pitching out of him. You're not going to get good playoff pitching out of him. And what if he gets hurt? Because he's been hurt in past seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Yankees need to find the right pitcher. I think their bullpen is okay. Maybe it could be a little better, but I think they're doing okay. But starting pitching, they need some spice.
They do. They need a gamer.
But I will give credit. It's like we've been saying for the past few seasons. Even when the Yankees don't make the playoffs, I actually have to give credit to Joe Girardi. He has managed out of some pretty shitty situations.
He has, and he's handled it with dignity and class. And the guy's bland as dishwater, but you can't really fault the guy's managing style.
Exactly. He was a manager of the year, and he still got fired.
Well, that's Jeffrey Loria for you. If the guy, I really want to check his hairline to see he's not growing horns under there.
But yeah, I mean, I got to give all the credit in the world to Joe Girardi. I think he's a good man. Like you said, he's blanded in dishwater, but at the same time, sometimes being blanded in dishwater is a good thing rather than having, a hot head like
Ozzie
Guillen.
Although Ozzie Guillen, I can imagine as a journalist, he would probably be a self-opening pinata, a gift.
He would be good for quotes and footage and stuff.
Exactly. Although, you get the same kind of boilerplate stuff out of... But that's the way the Yankees kind of cultivate their image. It's like bland... I mean, Jeter, as much as I, worship the ground the guy walks on, he was kind of devoid of a personality if you didn't know him personally.
That's true. But
he wanted to be whatever you wanted him to be, that kind of thing.
I was going to say, the thing about Jeter is, as much as he quote-unquote lacked the personality, his personality to me was do the right thing and say the right thing. Which is actually very rare.
Yeah, I completely forgot, though.
What's that?
Because we're talking about the Yankees last night. And who was in the broadcast booth but Alex Rodriguez? He did his first color commentary, and
what do you think?
Did you listen to it?
A little bit. I thought it was normal A-Rod, like he would be on the pregame panel.
Yeah, coming from a color comment, because you've done commentary for when you were a writer, right?
Yeah, I was a color commentator for a season. I thought it was normal, like he was be on a Fox pregame or postgame, in which case he's always good there. I thought he was fine.
He was kind of running out of things to say.
I mean, the one bad thing was that one tweet, that one deleted tweet.
The notebook, the notebook. Oh God, I don't even want to know what his to-do list looks like.
Yeah. All right.
Because God forbid he's mainlining some kind of banned horse genome.
Oh
and
God,
they're gonna have to ride him into work with a saddle.
No. All right, Nick, you ready to move to basketball?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Nick, it's time to take a trip. It's time to take a trip to the New York Knicks circus.
Yes, the circus is back in town, and it doesn't leave joy, it leaves tears in its wake.
I was going to say, Ringling Brothers is retiring this weekend, but the New York Knicks circus will always be available.
I want to see Jim Dolan in a top hat.
Oh, God, no.
Really, that would be just so fucking perfect. But the draft lottery was this past week, and the Knicks, as they are wont to do, fucked up even the simplest thing as a coin flip and got stuck with the 8th overall pick.
This is why I have abandoned you guys, because you can't do anything right. And I'm going to stick with my prediction of what I said. I would not not much of a prediction, but I wouldn't be surprised if they traded that pick. If they traded that pick and Carmelo to like the Cavs for like J.R. Smith and 2 washed up other guys.
Or Porzingis. Don't put it past Phil Jackson to be unbelievably petty.
If they give up Porzingis, like I officially said, I'm done. Maybe, you have to win my trust back. If they give up Porzingis, I'm just done overall.
Do you own any Knicks memorabilia or any kind of paraphernalia?
I own a Melo jersey, and I actually got a Porzingis shirt. Porzingis gave me some hope and some support.
If that happens, I want you. We're going to do a special video.
Oh, no.
We're going to do a special thing where you're going to put it into an oil drum, cover it with lighter fluid, and
no, I can't do that.
If that happens, and it's not going to be his fault, you know what? You're going to throw a picture of Phil Jackson in there to boot.
What if? Well, number one, I don't want to set my house on fire. Number two, what if I met you in the middle and I just tossed them both in the trash?
Good point. Well, no, that's a point. Less property damage.
So how about I meet you in the middle? If that happens, I will take my Melo shirt and my Porzingis shirt, and I will print out a photo of Phil Jackson. I will throw them all. I will grab my trash bin. I will throw them all in there.
Although, are they really that stupid to do something like that?
I wouldn't put it past Phil Jackson.
Yeah, that's a good fucking point. It really is. But what can you get with the eighth pick? I mean, what's out there?
I mean, I'm not a basketball expert, so I mean, there's good talent out there from what we've seen with, the NCAA tournaments. The Knicks are at such a mess that I don't know what they need.
Oh God, it is. You don't know where to start. You don't.
Well, I have a bigger issue in the NBA lottery than the New York Knicks.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, I need some clarification here. So the kid is Lonzo Ball, correct?
The kid,
because I always get these two confused. It's Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball.
No, LeVar is the kid. Lonzo is his father.
No, wait. Lonzo is the kid. Lonzo is the kid. LeVar is his father. Okay, but either way, fuck the Ball family. Or, it's a publicity thing for them, but I just can't help but be angry. I hate these two so fucking much. They are headaches. And LeVar Ball thinks, his son is God. It's just, I mean, as a dad, you really do love your son. You think he's your best friend and stuff, but it's like, no. Your son is not a basketball playing god. He hasn't played an NBA game yet. The NBA is a lot different than college. Take it from freaking Michael Jordan.
So context is necessary before we launch into the real invective.
Do we really need context? It's fucking Lonzo Ball.
He and his father, well, his father more than he, but he spouting his mouth off saying, we're only going to play for the Lakers, and that is it.
Right, but I mean, this guy and his dad have gone back for months. Like, they have, LeVar Ball is a fountain of quotes, a fountain of really shitty quotes that the media always picks up on because, like, he makes all these guarantees. So it's like, the media says, oh, you guarantee that? Okay, and we're going to hold it against you.
Well, shitty quote. We're journalism students. Shitty quotes can sometimes be good.
No, I mean that's what I mean. You hear what I said? I said about promises. It's like I promise this. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna hold it out against you. So I'm gonna hold everything he says against him. And Lonzo Ball, how he only wants to play for the Lakers. As much as the Celtics, there's this one kid in the NBA draft. I forget his name, but you know who I'm talking about, right? They're supposedly going to go number 1 overall. As much as that's the case, no. I want the Celtics to pick Ball. Just because I want to see the shitstorm that comes out of that.
See, I don't have as much of a problem with that guy, with LeVar Ball and Lonzo as you do. Because I feel like they're just articulating what the NBA is already about anyway. Stars play where they want. LeBron and Melo do it all the time. They play where they want to play. And
fair enough, but you know what? LeBron and Melo have been multi-time All-Stars. LeBron's a multi-time champion. Ball hasn't even played a game in the NBA. Here's what I say. If you want to prove to me, that my hate is just hate, shut up and play. Shut up, suit up, and play. Because remember, like I said, the college ball and the NBA are two different fields, buddy.
Yeah. You kind of do want him to. I do want him to go to the Celtics.
Like I said, I only want him to go to the Celtics or for the Lakers to pass him up just because I want to see the shitstorm. I want to see that. If he goes, I think number one overall. I think to the Celtics or to any team that's not the Lakers. I think he'll kick up a fuss, but he'll eventually settle down and just start playing because a paycheck's a paycheck, and you wanted to play in the NBA, and you're getting your chance. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be worse. I think he's going to – his dad is going – I don't think he's going to say – I think his dad is going to say, my son is going to sit out.
Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be. But honestly, I mean, by way of example, if I was a baseball player and I was interested in and if I was ready to go to the draft, I wouldn't want to play for the Red Sox. I wouldn't want to play for the Red Sox at all.
I would love to play for if I was in that situation, I would love to play for the Yankees, but it's like whoever's going to give me the opportunity, that's the thing. Also, the guy who I was thinking of, Markelle Fultz, that's who he is.
Yeah,
he's supposedly going to be he's like Garrett with the NFL draft. He's supposedly going to be the overall consensus number one draft pick.
So we will see. We will see what happens. But
yes, but I will end this by saying, once again, fuck the Ball family. Shut up. Let the kid play. Let me see. Because if his play is really good, maybe he can convince me that, he can walk the walk and talk the talk. But we will have to see.
It's going to be good watching anyway.
Yeah. That's going to do it. Unspoken Podcast. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the UDUP. And our big 20th episode is next week.
We got something special planned for you, so tune in.
Yep, and keep up with our social media. We'll pretty much say what it is on social media, as long as we can get everything worked out. So fingers crossed that we can get something worked out special for the 20th episode. But then the 21st, we have our sports gaming.
Yeah, yes, we will definitely do that.
So for Nick, so for Nick Federa, I'm Tom Albano. This is the Unspoken Podcast. We'll see you next week. You've been listening to the Unspoken Podcast, or the Undetermined Podcast Network.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.